Late. Promise not to pound the table. What are we talking about today, David?
We're going to talk about terrorism.
Well, you know, it was kind of frightening, and I'm sure if you were in New York, you would be frightened.
You mean in Detroit?
Oh, you mean another shoe bomber, leg bomber, right?
This with all these billions of dollars and 550,000 people on the watch list, one guy manages to get on an airplane with a bomb strapped to his leg.
Well, are we actually sure? I mean, I don't think we did the right thing in the beginning. If you really look at their actions, speak much louder than their words. Do you really think they got through all 19 guys, made it through the original screening process with straight
box
knives,
cutters?
Box cutters. I've never believed that for any way, shape, or form. You know how they did it?
How'd they do it?
They always had connection flights. It was a connecting flight. So what you do is you have people on the ground put the weapons of choice
on the plane.
No, not on the plane. You put it in the electronic security thing where you used to store your luggage at those big airports. All those were shut down after 9/11 and have never been put back on. You have your own people put them on the electronic luggage thing. You call the guy up. I got a code 2154. 2154 is in the electronic luggage. You go there after you make your connecting flight from Providence into Boston Logan. Pull the weapons off. That's the way they used to run drugs. That's the reason. So you pull the weapons off and you go on from there. Why risk anything? So we didn't go after where the security breach was.
The reality is the real weapons were the airplanes.
Well, the real weapons were the Saudi attackers, and we refused to go after the Saudis.
Of course.
Well, we're not allowed to talk about oil all the way. Because everything's about oil.
Now, the thing is you cannot win a war on terrorism. The whole idea of terrorism is that it's not a war. It's a random act that has as much meaning as you allow to be put on it at the time.
We spent trillions of dollars based on...
So,
and I hate to say it, you know, if you really look at it from the death rate,
right,
it didn't cause that many additional deaths in America during that year. That's a terrible way to look at it.
What, 9/11?
Yeah.
3,000 deaths.
Well, you can't cast it aside, but...
No, but in the grand scheme of things...
It wasn't that many people. And how many deaths did we cause because of that?
It's been asymmetrical.
We've killed a lot of...
We killed a lot of people that don't look like us.
And that might have been innocent, right?
And
what do you think it was? 70 to 1? 10 to 1?
Oh, it's up higher than 10 to 1. I'm sure
close
of that.
To 70 to 1? Lamech's number?
101.
Enoch, you were promised... If you go back to the Bible, Enoch, for every one of him, 10 of them would die. Lamech, 70 to 1. Maybe we're Cain. Who knows?
All I can say is that, you know, we have to look at the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is we haven't freed ourselves of terrorism, nor will we ever. In fact, by the greater response we give it, the more credible it becomes as a weapon.
Well, yeah.
The Russians were screwing up. I mean, they were nuclear weapons and, you know, mutually assured destruction. Screw that. Just knock out the World Trade Center. So it's 4 airplanes and
Yes, but we would have gone after their home country, and we couldn't go after the Saudis' home country
because.
Well, look, you can't do it.
Right.
We're addicted. Put that oil in there, baby.
Right.
Oh, it's our oil underneath their sand.
But you know, here we have yet another incident. One person, he didn't kill anybody this time. Now we had one of our own majors in the army. He killed what, 13?
Well, yes, but he was...
But
you can't count him.
Why not?
He's Muslim.
Oh.
He doesn't count.
Well, the Nigerian was Muslim, too.
Nigeria. Oh, no.
Yes, he was.
Well, of course.
Yes.
Maybe the guy that ran across 675, was he a terrorist? Yesterday, he was Muslim, too, wasn't he? He had the Muslim name. I don't want to stereotype.
Uh-oh.
But maybe he's a terrorist on 675.
Hold
my hand.
Stop hitting the table.
I'm really not afraid of any. I mean, seriously, what other power? Even the Chinese don't have a navy. Who are we afraid
The
of?
Chinese do have a navy, but
Not a navy that I'd be afraid of. The Soviets had a real military force.
But the reality is
If you're afraid of anybody in the Middle East, you're crazy.
exactly.
Wimp.
My father called it before. He said the first thing you're going to see is boots and rifles, because they're going to take their boots off and they're going to drop their rifles and they're going to run another direction. Even the famed, scary Republican Guard, the elite Republican Guard, were a pushover.
But it was a beautifully done. I mean, if you really look at it, because it was beautifully done for me. If you go back and remember 9/11, you know, if Saddam Hussein had a weapon of mass destruction, you would expect him to use it. But just like we knew that the Russian military was a farce, we probably really knew
the reality is anytime you have very good, you need a bad. We have to have this evil.
Or you wouldn't have a military.
Or we wouldn't have the military-industrial complex. They're all being funded. We're spending tons and tons of money.
I'm not a chicken.
Not a chicken.
Chicken.
This is what Eisenhower warned us about as he was stepping down from office. If you haven't looked into that, do a Google search. But the reality is our country is searching for an enemy, and the enemy is us.
Absolutely.
The enemy isn't, you know, a Muslim here or a Muslim there or somebody wielding a bomb. The enemy is that our country is depleting the world's resources and
can't say it.
And economically, we have sort of destroyed the entire world's economy.
Well, you believe in man will. If you really believe in man will think of something better. There always builds a better mousetrap.
Yeah.
They know nothing about science, but whatever.
The reality is it's good that we keep having these terrorists because they keep us distracted from the real terrorists who, to me, these days are the people on Wall Street who are jacking up the interest rates and just before the Congress, you know, changes the law. And Congress is doing nothing. The Patriot Act. I mean, there are so many things that we should be paying attention to. And instead it's Tiger Woods and his hose. And it's terrorism.
Panem et circuses. Bread and circuses. The Roman Empire.
Anyways.
Have a good day.
Yep, we'll see ya.
All right. Bread and circuses. Bread and